Do you feel death, dead man? Hey, what's going on, everybody? You already know who it is by now. It's your favorite sweaty savage, your boy Mikey Savage 21, bringing you another movie review. And today we're going to be looking at the 5th installment of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, simply known as Dead Men Tell No Tales. And this film was actually directed by two people, by Rønning and Sandberg, respectively. And this basically takes place after the film On Stranger Tides. Now, getting to some of my initial thoughts about the film, I really did enjoy this one, and it was actually great that I was able to rewatch a good majority of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise this week at work, so I got to really see the franchise as in its entirety, because it has been several years since On Stranger Tides. I was, a little bit, trepidatious about how this was going to shake out, and one of the things that I can go ahead and say right here is this one is definitely up to par with the first one. While 2, 3, and 4 felt a little bit jaded and very disappointing, again, this one is definitely up there with the first one, I would say. So, of course, the overall story and plot focuses around our new characters that we have, played respectively by Brenton Thwaites, and he plays young Henry Turner, and he is the son of Will Turner and Elizabeth Swan Turner, and he's basically trying to reconnect with his father, and he wants to break the curse that's preventing him from coming to shore and being with him and his mother. And then along the way, we get introduced to Keira Smith as well. She is a feisty, altruistic astronomer and a horologist on top of that as well. And these basically are our new two leads who are leading this film, along with the villain played by Javier, Bardem, and of course we get the return of Barbossa and Jack Sparrow respectively, played by Depp and by Rush. So for me personally, again, I really did thoroughly enjoy the film. I thought it was a standout surprise, and to me, when it comes to the overall story and the plot, I felt like this was a real action heavy film. I felt like this was an adventure film again, because basically 2, 3, and 4 seemed more like overall stunts and whatnot, kind of like what the Transformers route has kind of gone to. It's lost its sense of adventure, and it was more about explosions, as opposed to this one. This one felt like an actual action adventure. Now, one of the standout performances I want to talk about is our two new leads, again played by Thwaites and played again by Scodelario. I thought they were really used in this film to carry this franchise forward, because again, with Sparrow and with Barbossa and some of the other older characters, they're getting on up there in years, so you have to be able to pass this down. And so what I like that they did with Thwaites and Scodelario's character is they introduced them in an organic way to the story, and they were crucial to the story. Each person offered up something special, unique in this adventure. Again, talking about the villain Javier Bardem playing Captain Armando Salazar, I thought he was a powerful presence in this film, and his revenge that he wanted to get on Captain Jack Sparrow really carried his motivations throughout this film. He never once let you forget why he's here and why he is after Captain Jack Sparrow. And speaking of Captain Jack Sparrow, how was he in this movie? Was he, again, an eccentric comic relief? Yes and no. In certain parts, he was very comedic, like he always has been, but I felt he was very utilized well in this film. We have the return of Johnny Depp and the prominence as Captain Jack Sparrow, kind of like how they used him in the first one, where he was a background character for the other characters, and it seemed like this one was more so action heavy, and it seemed like he actually was doing things on purpose and more calculating, and as a pirate, because again, we get to see the backstory of Jack Sparrow and his relationship with Salazar, and we get to see how cunning and how ruthless and tricky he can be, and how that is basically got him through and what people remember him of. And of course, the last standout performance I want to talk about is Geoffrey as Captain Hector Barbossa. I felt like everything he went through in this film was basically tying all the strings together, all the way from the very first one. We get to some very good realizations in this film, and I felt the way that he was using this film was very also organic. They introduced him in a way that made sense in the story, and it wasn't just bringing him back just to bring him back. Now again, some of the standout scenes that I want to talk about is there's this big action scene right from the beginning of the film where there's a bank heist going on. I thought that was one of the standout performance scenes, because you have so much going on within the context of the story, but then you're also having this comedic banter going on in the background background. And then one of the other standout scenes I would have to say is the ending scene, and it was mainly because of the emotion that the directors are able to get out of us. Now, some of the negatives that I had with the film is, like always, is again, at certain times I felt like Johnny Depp was just playing the same drawn out character and becoming a little bit too comedic. One of the other things that I also didn't like was, again, the lore that they had set up in all the rest of the films kind of just went out of the window. Kind of like with Fox, they just kind of like continuity, spontaneity. We're gonna rewrite it kind of somewhat to kind of fit this story. Sometimes that can be good. I'll give them a pass on that one because it seems like we might be going in a unique direction with this continuity change that they have done. But again, my final thoughts on this film were, I thought overall it was a good film. I thought this was a rise to prominence again, certainly better than 2, 3, and 4, and I'm looking forward to the sequel that we're eventually gonna get if it does well in the box office this weekend. And as my score stands, I'm gonna give this film an 8 out of a 10. But with that being said, guys, that has been my review for Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales. Post your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let me know what you have to say about this film. I'm curious to know and want to engage you in the comment section. Do you think it's going to do well in the box office? Do you think we're going to get a Pirates of the Caribbean 6? Let me know all of those down below, and make sure you stay tuned and subscribe to this channel for all the latest movie reviews. Thank you as always. Remember, as I say, to become a savage, stay a savage, and peace out, y'all.